أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر.
Happy Eid, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Huda TV's continued, comprehensive, extended, and live coverage of Hajj 1433. Of course, that's 2012. If you look behind me, you guys, you can see Mina. We're live at Mina. You can see tent cities where people from all around the world are here just wrapping up their Hajj. I'm joined today by two very important guests, of course, the eminent and respected Sheikh, the host of Ask Huda and Correct Your Recitation, of course, airing live weekly on Huda TV, Dr. Muhammad Salah, as well as a new and special guest. He's a professor, a doctor, professor of Islamic Studies and Linguistics at the University of Calgary, as well as the University of Alberta. However, he has recently relocated to Al Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt. I'd like to greet you both with Happy Eid and Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining me.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and happy Eid to you and to the entire Ummah at large.
Thank you so much
for hosting us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muhammad. And of course, Dr. Rida, I apologize. I know you have a sore throat a bit, so I thank you for being with us on the show, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that we made it here safely. It's very busy today. It's very crowded. I'm glad you made it to the studio because I actually came here on the back of a motorcycle, Dr. Muhammad. It's very, very crowded.
What an experience.
So, Doctor, can you do a little bit, Dr. Muhammad, can you explain a little bit about the rites of Hajj? Right now, is Hajj officially over? Are people, have they completed Hajj or not yet?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى لا سيما المصطفى صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Praise be to Allah alone. We all praise Him and we seek His help, and we send the best peace and blessings upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, the Quran answered this question in Surah Al-Baqarah. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was speaking about Hajj, He said, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى. This is pertaining tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and day after. The ayyam which we call them the days of at-tashriq. Allah the Almighty says, remember Allah much in certain number of days. Basically, in Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, concerning the dhikr in ayyamin ma'lumat, known days, from the beginning of the 10th, the month of Dhul Hijjah till the 10th. And now we will continue with the adhkar, an alternative adhkar during the Eid and its days.
Okay.
Tomorrow, inshallah, will be the 11th. And day after tomorrow is the 12th. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ تَعَجَّلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. So for those who would like to haste and leave Mina after 2 days on the 12th, as long as they will leave before sunset, there is no blame on them.
Okay.
وَمَنْ تَأَخَّرَ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ لِمَنِ اتَّقَى. And for those who would like to complete the course and stay over until the 13th, that would be perfect, of course. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ did. Each day there are certain rituals that we do. We're sitting here in Mina. Right behind you, you could see what's known as al-jamarat, plural of jamra. Al-sughra, al-wusta, al-kubra, the little, the middle, and the major one. Today, or basically I would say the Eid day, we threw jamrat al-aqaba, al-kubra, the major one, with 7 pebbles. Each day, from the following days, we throw the 3 jamarat with 7 pebbles. So these are the activities or the Hajj rituals that we do, and this is wajib. It's a must to do that.
Right.
2 things, they are wajib to be done during these days. To spend the night, or at least most of the night in Mina,
Okay.
and to throw the stones every single day of those days.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Rida, going to you now. Can you reflect a little bit on the significance of actually throwing the stones? Because I hear a lot of people, they ask me about this, non-Muslim people. They say, what does this mean? Why do you guys perform this? Why do you throw stones at the Jamarat?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I would like to apologize again for
It's okay,
losing my voice. There's a beautiful story behind stoning, and that's the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's amazing how Hajj is connected to Ibrahim alayhi salam. You know, in Sa'i, you know, as Dr. Muhammad explained before in other episodes, subhanAllah, the story of Hajar and Yaqeen. Again, Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he saw the dream that he's slaughtering his son, And he has been patient for almost 100 years until he got Ismail alayhi salam. But yet, as Allah said about him in Surah Al-Baqarah, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And that's one of the most distinguishing characters of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Total submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he saw in the dream that he is slaughtering, his son Ismail alayhi salam, he went and he wanted to fulfill the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On his way to do so, he was stopped by shaitan 3 times. And these are exactly the same spots where we stop and react in the same way. Shaitan was trying to distract him not to follow the command of Allah. Why would you kill your own son? After all this patience, he's your only son. But again, when he collected the 7 pebbles, as if he's teaching us, no more obedience to shaitan, but obedience from today on is to Ar-Rahman. So in the 3 spots, he collected the 7 pebbles, and he threw shaitan, and shaitan was so disgraced and was so humbled by that act of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So when we reflect on that, as people coming, يحجون بيت الله, meaning they're coming not only قاصدين بيت الله, linguistically speaking, coming towards the house of Allah. No, it's also not traveling and coming physically, but also with their intention and with their spirits. And this is what makes Hajj very meaningful, when people reflect about the story and the meaning behind what they're doing.
Thank you for that wonderful explanation and clarification. I just want to remind the viewers briefly, you guys, the phone number should appear on the bottom of your screen. Usually I give you guys the Cairo numbers like I did last time by accident, but we are in Saudi right now, so the numbers will appear on your screen. And yes, we are live, so we are taking your phone calls if you'd like to speak to either of our prestigious guests. So please, I'm waiting for your call, inshallah. Dr. Muhammad, isn't Hajj itself a sign in the existence of the Creator? Because as we all know the story very well, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he stood on the mountain and Allah said, proclaim the Hajj. And he said, who will come to this deserted place? But now we see people from every single country on the face of the earth. So isn't this a sign of the existence of the Creator as well?
Definitely, Hajj entirely as an act of worship is all about monotheism. In every footstep that we take towards performing pilgrimage, we declare the oneness of Allah. And we proclaim monotheism. For instance, once we say, Labbayk, Allahumma labbayk, here will come to you, O Allah, here will come to you. La sharika lak, there is no partner to you. And then we say, indeed, all the praise, all the dominion belong to you, there is no partner to you, and so on. So the word of Tawheed throughout, it's not only we pass the level of proving the Creator, rather we're talking now about the unity of worship. There is only one single God, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Furthermore, the Prophet ﷺ said, the greatest dua is the one which is done on the day of Arafah. And he said, the best dua I have made and all the prophets before me was, لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. When we examine the Quranic verses pertaining Hajj, they all revolve around Tawheed, monotheism. Then talking about the call and proclaiming for Hajj. In Surah Al-Hajj, Allah the Almighty says, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. The ayah or the verse. This is a divine command to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him after he tested him with various tests and he fulfilled them all. So he was qualified to be honored with the task of constructing the Kaaba and raising its foundations. Then afterward, Allah taught him the manasik, the Hajj rituals. And furthermore, he ordered him, Azin, call Azan, Finnasi, proclaim Hajj for mankind. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا, they shall come to you on foot. وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ, and on every lean camel. مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ, from every distant mountain and highway. We have people from the States, China, Russia,
everywhere.
North Pole, Africa, literally everywhere. If you, during the daytime, you screen the view with the camera, you would definitely have a rainbow color.
SubhanAllah.
Why? Black, men, women, all young, they're from other tongues. This is so beautiful. They're all chanting the same nowadays. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Then the word of Tawheed, La ilaha illallah. Then Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. That is the meaning of وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ. It's all about Tawheed. You know, Malik, what's really interesting is the interpreters of the Quran say, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Ibrahim alayhi salam, one who has the greatest yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, they ordered him to proclaim Hajj for mankind. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, Ya Rabbi, I'm just a human being.
Right.
They didn't have amplifiers, they didn't have sound system or TV stations like we do. How far my voice could reach. The command was not to call his people, his nation, or those who are nearby,
Everyone.
mankind, and through ages and time.
Right. Excellent point, Dr. Muhammad.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Ibrahim, alayka al-adhan wa alayna al-balagh. Your task is to call adhan. Don't worry about conveying the message. It is my duty. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon making the adhan by Ibrahim alayhi salam, every person, even in the line of their forefathers, before they were created, they responded, the believers responded. And it's very interesting that the scholars say, those who responded once will perform Hajj once. And those who responded twice will perform Hajj twice. And those who responded more and get to perform Hajj more.
That's an excellent point, Dr. Muhammad. I'd also like to mention, as a by the way, I believe, gentlemen, we have achieved something here as Muslims that the entire world, including the Western world, has not achieved yet, and they only pay lip service to. And that's true equality between races and between different socioeconomic paths. This has been achieved in Hajj. We see this in Hajj. We don't see this at any other place in any other time, in my personal opinion. Dr. Rida, perhaps you can speak a little bit about the different types of ibadah that Hajj encompasses, because it's such a beautiful thing. It encompasses so many different types of aspects of worship.
First of all, during Hajj, of course, people perform salah. And salah in the Arabic language stems from the word sila, which is connection. And subhanAllah, Hajj as the fifth pillar of Islam, when people come here to complete, the last pillar of Islam, and they know that one salah in the Masjid al-Haram is equal to 100,000 salah. I'm amazed by people coming to me all the time. Same thing with Dr. Muhammad Salah. It's like, should we go to the Masjid al-Haram all the time? That tells you how they appreciate the fact that they don't want to miss the great reward of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's amazing, Dr. Salah promised them today that tomorrow's talk is going to be about how to attain khushu', focus in that salah. Because subhanAllah, as you just mentioned, some of us, when we pray, it's almost lip service. It's like the same Fatiha, same surah, short two surahs all the time.
Yeah.
Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar, qul huwallahu ahad, expressway, done.
Right.
But subhanAllah, even those two beautiful surahs, when you internalize the meaning and you understand that Al-Fatiha is a dialogue between you and Allah, and you interact, as they said to Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, when he used to recite Al-Fatiha, he used to pause after every ayah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And he would pause. And they say, why? He said, Astamtu'u bi radd Rabbi. Because, as the Prophet ﷺ said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Qasamtu as-salah. Allah called Al-Fatiha as-salah. That connection. Bayni wa bayna abdi. So the servant says, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah responds by saying, Hamadani abdi. So if you think about that, and you're on Hajj, you're very close, you're sometimes looking at the Kaaba, it's very meaningful. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's, the point that Dr. Salah stressed. فَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ. Allah promised in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 152, He said, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Allahu Akbar. Imagine, who am I as one of the creation of Allah in this vast universe? If I were to mention Allah, Allah mentions me.
Yeah, subhanAllah, if you think about it like that's very amazing. Of course, Dr. Salah, thank you, Doctor, for your comments. Dr. Salah as well, this Hajj it includes many acts of worship, including spending your money, physical effort. So it's a comprehensive worship, isn't it?
Correct. As a matter of fact, there is a particular hadith in this regard. in which the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-ajru fil hajji ala qadri al-nafaqati wal-mashaqqa. The reward for performing Hajj is in proportion with two things, spending and exerting an effort. So we find there is a balance. There are a lot of people who can afford to perform Hajj 5 stars, stay in 5-star hotels, get accommodation that others cannot do. Great. But the poor ones will not be deprived from the reward, and the reward will not be diminished either. Because there is another part that the rich people, I wouldn't say they're missing entirely, but they cannot compete with the poor. They have to work, they have to exert a lot of effort, more than others. So that's why the reward will be in proportion with two things, spending and the effort. It's all about struggle. Today, we were speaking to our brothers and sisters and said that I know that because a lot of people, those who are coming from the States, they're not expecting this kind of tough journey. I said, this is not going to Niagara Falls or Disneyland. This is Hajj. And you make an effort. And this effort, you should be an optimistic person, and hopefully that will intercede for you on the day of judgment. Because at least here, we know that it's one day and it will be over. Arafah one day. And Muzdalifah is one night. Then we'll go home.
Yeah, of course.
Stay in the camp in Mina. The whole thing, 3-4 days.
Of course. We have a phone call. Before we take the call, I want to ask you this question. Answer me, inshallah, if you can, doctor, after the call. What if someone has blessed somebody from Canada or America or any country with wealth, and they come and perform a 5-star Hajj? This is the blessing of Allah, isn't it, as well?
It is indeed a blessing. I mean, if I have a chance to perform 7-star Hajj, I would do.
Right.
But guess what? Whether you are rich or poor, we melt in the same pot.
Okay.
It is very hard to distinguish who's rich and the poor, especially on yesterday and the last night.
Hot. Okay.
In Muzdalifah, unlimited stars.
Okay, I see.
Everybody, there are no hotels.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad. We have Dr. Lubna from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for calling, doctor. Thank you so much for your call. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Dr. Lubna. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
I just want to congratulate you and say welcome to all Hajjis who perform the Hajj. And I'm really very much inspired by your team. And we watch with the TV with the limit, with so much. I gain a lot of knowledge from your team, and I'm very thankful. And I congratulate your all team, especially Dr. Mr. Muhammad Salah and the other members who really increase our knowledge, and every day it increases really our sense of Iman. I'm very thankful to all of you really.
Thank you so much for your call.
My daughter, my son, they all watch your program very keenly, and they like very much. And
thank you so much, Dr. Lubna.
Really, I'm very thankful to your team.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your call, Dr. Lubna from Pakistan. We certainly appreciate it. And as Dr. Muhammad said, inshallah, we hope to see you here next year, inshallah. Dr. Ridda, inshallah. Dr. Ridda, we're here at Hajj. It's a beautiful scenario over, it encompasses many days, different types of rituals. What, in your opinion, is the climax, the peak, the spiritual highlight of Hajj?
The Prophet ﷺ answered this question when he said in the beautiful hadith, Al-Hajju Arafah, like the main day is Arafah.
Why? What is the wisdom behind this hadith? Why not another day? Why not something else?
I would say because, subhanAllah, when people come at the beginning, they prepare with the Umrah, and after the Umrah, they come to the day of Tarwiyah, just prepare themselves. And as I told the people when they were asking questions, I said, you come to a 5-star hotel, at the beginning, and you go down gradually, just to learn to humble yourself and forget the dunya for a few days. So on the day of Tarwiyah, they come, pray, and then once they move to the day of Arafah, subhanAllah, in Mina we have tents, we have a little bit of accommodations, maybe some beds. But when we go to Arafah, it's just a plain.
Right.
I remember one of the sisters came to me and said, where's my bed here? Where's my pillow?
The whole earth is your bed.
And it was so hot too.
Enjoy. Yeah. And subhanAllah, on that day, once we start the khutbah, after Zawal, followed by Dhuhr and Asr, and people know that this is the day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala boasts of the people who have come from all different parts of the world, responding to the call, as we mentioned earlier, of Ibrahim alayhi salam, more than 5,000 years ago. And they say, here we are, Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at the people, the way they are dressed. Two simple pieces of cloth that reminds you, when you come to this dunya, you're wrapped in something like that. And subhanAllah, when you die, also they shroud you in something like that. And when you're resurrected, you're going to be completely naked. So subhanAllah, when people reflect on that, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah will boast of those people, the way they're dressed, the way they smell, the way they, subhanAllah, they have dust all over, and the sweat and the efforts, and they're coming with one intention. Oh Allah, we have been sinning for the whole year. It's the day when all these sins will be forgiven. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to the angel saying, look at my servants. Look at the way they are dressed. What do they want from me? My mercy? They want me to forgive their sins? Bear witness, I've forgiven them. And some scholars said, if you were to leave Arafah thinking that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not forgive you, that would be in itself a great sin. Subhanallah. So imagine you leave on that day having the feeling, as Dr. Muhammad said earlier in the lecture in our camp, he said, how old are you today? And everybody said, 1 day old, because we're newborns. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept the Hajj of everyone. Ameen.
It was my first Hajj. It was a very touching experience when you see how many people. It was a very, very wonderful experience, to say the least. Dr. Salah, this is such a special time, Hajj. There's so many beautiful things, beautiful aspects to this journey here to Hajj. But I have a logistic question for you, an Ask Huda type question. Many people elected to perform tawaf and sa'i and cut their hair before they stood on the Jamarat because it was a logistic thing, because of the crowds and the millions and millions and millions of people that have descended upon this beautiful, blessed place at the same place and time. Is this acceptable? Does it affect the validity of that person's Hajj?
Before I answer this question, I would like to tackle a couple of things. They're very interesting. The first is last night in Muzdalifah. Our Hujjaj are coming from North America. We have from Toronto, from the States, all over the States, and some from Russia as well.
MashaAllah.
So most of them are not used to this type of life. And in Muzdalifah, there was nothing but the floor and multiple stars. Unlimited. So when everybody was so worn out and tired, making dua all day long, and it's time to rest. And I told them that there is a sunnah here, the sunnah of resting. The Prophet ﷺ on the night of Muzdalifah prayed Maghrib and Isha together. Then he prayed with and he rested. So this is a sunnah to rest.
Yes.
So people who are going to sleep, they have their sleeping bags and so on. So one of them said, "Ya Sheikh, can you turn the light off? Those huge light fixtures.
The street lights, right.
The stadium type of light."
Yeah, right.
So I looked at him and he just made me smile. He brought laughter to my heart and he said, "Yeah, sure, of course. And we can order you a water bed as well."
Right, of course.
This is one thing. The second thing is, we've been preparing people for the following fact. Spending the night in Muzdalifah is a wajib. The whole night until the morning, until Fajr. Unless if you're exempt due to sickness, old age, or a pregnant woman, or weakness, whatever. So these reasons, or somebody who's accompanying somebody who's disabled, they're allowed to leave past midnight. Very interesting thing happened, Dr. Urban. A lot of people had to leave after midnight, okay, while we waited until the morning. So we prayed Fajr, we made our adhkar, then we got in the train, we were in Mina, we threw the stones and went to our camp, and those who left at Fajr have just arrived. Those who have left past midnight have just arrived. Yes. Look at the mistake way how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things. Okay, that's a test. I know that you're tired and you're weak and you've been given the concession to depart earlier to beat the traffic. Now coming to answer your question. What is the purpose of leaving early? Leaving early for weak, physically disabled, and those who accompany them, and those who are working for the service of the Hujjaj to beat the traffic. Throw the stones, shave or trim, go to Mecca, perform tawaf and sa'i if they are performing tamattu', or they're performing Qiran and they have not done the sa'i after the tawaf or the umrah. Anyway, to be the traffic, all of that is permissible to be done before Hajj, as long as they were allowed to leave past midnight.
Okay.
And doesn't have to stay till the dawn or the Fajr.
Okay.
Now, if somebody arrived, he threw the stones and he went to perform tawaf before shaving, is this permissible? There is a hadith in this regard. Multiple companions came to the Prophet ﷺ and they complained, Ya Rasulullah, I've done this before that, because there is an order.
Right.
The order, if the tartib or the order is a must, as long as there is no qarina or an indication that waives the obligation of it. Okay, take
I'm sorry, I have to take this call. Just one moment, Dr. Salah. We have Ibrahim from Nigeria, I believe. Assalamu alaikum, brother Ibrahim. Thank you for calling. From Rwanda, excuse me, brother. Rwanda, how are you, brother? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been to Rwanda.
Brother Ibrahim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Happy Eid. Thank you so much for calling. Go ahead.
Hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother Ibrahim.
Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, brother.
Thank you very much for a wonderful program.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for calling.
Thank
Go
you
right
very
ahead.
much for a wonderful program.
Thank you so much, brother Ibrahim. I certainly appreciate your call. All the way from Rwanda. Doctor,
I myself have done 2 Hajj and I know. Please keep it up. Thank you.
thank you so much, brother Ibrahim from Uganda. We certainly appreciate your call. I believe we have another caller on the line as well. Mrs. Tariq from Abu Dhabi. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Go ahead. Go ahead, sister, from Abu Dhabi. Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Go ahead. Mrs. Tariq.
Wa alaikum
There are you.
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, sister.
I
Go
would
ahead.
like to congratulate all of you for giving us a very beautiful transmission. And I would like to ask one question from Dr.
Go ahead.
Salah, that in this Hajj, when we see that all the pilgrims are performing Hajj with very peaceful environment, tolerance, love, but why don't we apply all these characteristics in our daily life? I mean, why we apply all characteristics only in Hajj? I mean, yeah, I know this is a very, our responsibility and, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to do in the same way Hajj. But why don't we apply all these in our daily life? And another thing that I belong to Pakistan actually, and this is my wish that we have a lot of scholars performing Hajj today. So I would like to tell you that please invite them as well.
Excellent point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your call, Abu Dhabi. All right, excellent. Dr. Rid, Dr. Muhammad, going back to what we were saying, I'd like you to complete your thought, Dr. Salah. But I agree with you, but the problem is the travel agents and the government here, they want to rush everyone through to some degree, and this comes into conflict with the Hajj rituals itself, it seems like, a conflict of interest.
Correct. Let me tell you this. There are a couple of things. If you can straighten things in order to do in order and along with the Sunnah, then this is just perfect. The Prophet ﷺ said, خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ. Take your Hajj rituals from me, not from the yellow pages, not from the newspaper,
Right.
not from secular people who may suggest things, because by the end, those guys will end up recommending that you can watch Hajj on video. You don't have to go to watch it, do it yourself.
Right.
Rather, take it from the Prophet ﷺ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And He said, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وَسْعَهَا. Allah does not lay any ordainments on any person beyond their capacity. For instance, Mina
Right.
is barely enough for certain number of people.
Right.
Okay, those who came and they couldn't find a place in Mina, we all know that spending most of the night in Mina, on the Eid night and the following 2 nights, is a must. What if a person failed to find a room?
For
It's
example.
not allowed by the authorities.
Right.
Sleep or spend the night in the closest area to Mina,
Okay.
and there is no penalty.
I see your point.
Somebody who went to perform Tawaf al-Ifada today has been struggling. Today was Friday, man. Eid day and Friday.
Yeah.
What a combination.
Yeah.
Imagine 4 million people would like to be at the haram for Jumu'ah and perform tawaf al-ifada and the sa'i. It's really a challenge.
Oh yeah.
So coming back to Mina is a hassle. There's not enough means of transportation, and it's really hard.
Right.
So what if they fail to make it before sunset? There's no blame on them.
Okay, right.
They don't owe any fidya or dam. Correct. Some people like to make things difficult and tough and really burden people with. Allah does not want that. He says Azza wa Jalla in Surah Al-Baqarah, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah wishes to give you ease and make your life easy. And religious duties easy. There is always an alternative if you fail to do it. وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. He doesn't like to burden you with difficulty and hardship. Go ahead.
Of course. So what you're saying is according to circumstances out of your control, perhaps.
That depends if it is a fard or a wajib or a sunnah. That needs to be explained.
Okay, thank you. Well, we have Sister Fauzia from, I can't quite recall. Sister, go ahead. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. Where are you calling from?
Walaikum assalam. First of all, thank you very much, Huda TV, and the presenters who present the program for Huda TV.
Thank you so much for calling.
Congratulations to all Huda TV. The way you all guide us, it is such a blessing for all of us. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. May Allah bless you,
I
Sister.
have learned a lot from your program. And yes, the way you people have transmitted the Hajj telecast, it was great.
Excellent. Dr. Salah, were you able to... I'm sorry, Sister, can you repeat that last sentence? I couldn't quite hear you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Sister. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Salah, I just want to ask that if I want to go alone for the
I see. I got you. I got you, Sister. Okay.
Is it possible?
I'll pass the question to our sheikhs, yes.
I'm just 3 years old, but I want to go with my son.
Oh, I will pass the question to our respected sheikhs. I said yes, meaning I will pass the question on, not the answer to your question. Thank you, Sister. She's calling from Abu Dhabi. Of course, I know, Dr. Rida, you are actually from Egypt. And recently there was a famous personality in Egypt who had said in the media he was going to make Umrah. And then a picture surfaced of him in Abu Dhabi. So I thought to myself, I never made Hajj before, but is it permissible to make Hajj in Abu Dhabi? Is that a miqat, Doctor? I'm just teasing you guys. But let's go back to the Sister's question. It's a question that we do receive a lot.
You're calling for trouble.
Dr. Rida, we do hear this question a lot. Dr. Muhammad, is it permissible to travel with a younger son? I believe she said her son was 15 years old.
Yes, Dr. Rida, go ahead.
I believe she said her son was 15 years old. Is it permissible for her to make Hajj with her 15-year-old son as a mahram?
Please.
Again, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wasalam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The mahram as defined by fiqh, is one of the family members, whether by blood or by musahara also. So as long as you're talking about the son who's an adult, and adulthood has certain signs. Okay?
Right.
So as long as he, attain his puberty and he's a Muslim and he's sane,
right,
then inshallah he could be a mahram.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah, for his mother.
Okay.
Allah knows best.
Allah knows best. And Doctor, I know you receive this question so much on Ask Huda. It's I guess in these times when you have a lot of people wishing to make Hajj and it's difficult, isn't it? Perhaps the husband has made Hajj already. The women would like to perform Hajj as well.
I believe she has a son who's 15,
No
then
problem.
she definitely can travel with him.
Yeah, no problem.
Even because Abu Hanifa says that the age of 15, even if none of the signs or the symptoms of puberty appear on him or her, the age of 15 will really determine puberty.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
definitely, if he maintains the rest of the conditions, sanity, Islam, and he's a male, then definitely she can travel to perform Hajj. I'd like to comment on one thing, which is
Go ahead.
when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Hajj is a duty for mankind towards Allah for those who can afford the means.
Right, great.
Financial means and physical means. And for women, there is an extra condition, which is al-mahram.
Right.
So if a woman doesn't have a mahram, she's exempt.
Okay, great point.
Okay, some of the scholars say if there is a secure company, I don't mean with a company, a travel agent. She's traveling with people who are
I got you.
honest and trustworthy people who
Okay.
can look after her. And this is Hajjatul Islam, then it is permissible.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Salah. We have Bilal from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Bilal. Go ahead.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you so much for calling, Brother Bilal. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate all of you, Hajj.
Go right ahead, brother.
God bless you.
Ah.
My question is this, there are three types of Hajj. Hajj Tamattu, Hajj Quran, Hajj Ifrad. Then
Okay.
what is the difference between these three types of Hajj?
Excellent question, brother. Thank you so much for your call, brother Bilal. Before we get
Thank
to
you.
excellent, brother Bilal, I certainly appreciate. I got your question. The difference between the three types of Hajj, which is the difference is, brother Dr. Rida. Perhaps you can speak about this. But before we ask Bilal's question, answer his question. I would like to ask a question, if you guys don't mind. Mecca as a sanctuary, Medina as a sanctuary. I recently heard, Dr. Muhammad, you said that many people believe Jerusalem to be a sanctuary when in fact it's not. So this is a big confusion. So what do we mean when we say the Haram, Mecca is a sanctuary, Medina is a sanctuary? What do we mean by that?
When you say the word sanctuary, haram, muqaddas, or holy or sacred, that there is only one who is entitled to give the sacredness to a time or a place. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He makes some places superior to others, sometimes superior to others, some creations superior to others, and some humans within the same species superior to others.
Okay.
So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam when he completed the structure of the Kaaba, and he said, رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. Surah Al-Baqarah said, my Lord, make the city a safe and a sacred city, بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ, and provides people from all types of fruits. And we can see this happening. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered his dua. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Al-Madinah, he made a beautiful dua, because people were struggling to accommodate and get used to the environment in Medina. They were not used to it.
Right.
And they were missing Mecca. Some were even sick and some were crying.
Right.
So the Prophet ﷺ made this following dua. He said, Allahumma habib ilayna al-Madinata kahubbina Makkata aw ashad. Oh Allah, make al-Madinah dear to our heart, and will make us love it as much as we love Mecca, or even more. And I believe definitely because of the ijabah, how Allah answered this dua, the hearts of the believers have tendency towards living in Medina more. There is love, there is peace, there is salam in Medina more than anywhere else. Especially it has the body of the Prophet ﷺ. Furthermore, he said, indeed, Ibrahim ﷺ invoked Allah to make Mecca as a haram. And Allah answered. And I'm invoking Allah to make Al-Madinah as a haram. And Allah answered my dua. هي حرم ما بين عير إلى ثور. The two mountains surrounded
And
Medina.
what's between them. I was about to ask you about if the believers should love, in fact, Medina more because of what you said. Dua includes that more, but you answered my question. Yeah.
The dua of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody who comes for Hajj or Umrah, they find that peace in Medina more than anywhere else. Everybody says, I wish I can stay in Medina.
Medina longer, subhanAllah. Before we get to Dr. Rida, I had a question for you. Bilal's question. Let's take this phone call from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm Dr. Khan.
Oh, there you are, brother. Thank you so much. Go ahead, brother. You're live.
It's really nice to see that this program is being aired. Actually, I have two questions regarding Hajj.
Okay. Go ahead.
And the first question is the criteria for Hajj Badal. Who can do it and for whom it can be done?
Okay, great. No problem, inshallah.
Okay.
Yes. Second
Okay,
question?
and my second question is, on the day of 12, if stoning the pebbles to the Jamrat can be done after Fajr. If there is some pregnant lady with a son, can be done after Fajr on the day of 12.
Okay,
That's my
inshallah.
second question.
Thank you, brother. Inshallah, I'll have our respected guests answer you, inshallah. But before we go to this question, Dr. Rida, can we answer the previous question of Bilal from the KSA, who said, can you briefly explain the different types of Hajj? Qiran, I believe, Ifrad, and Tamattu, of course, you know.
There are three types of Hajj. There's Hajj Ifrad, and as the word denotes, Ifrad means you have the single intention to perform Hajj, and there's no Umrah.
Okay.
And the second one is called Hajj Qiran, and the word Qiran means you're having two intentions together, which is Hajj and Umrah, but they're not separated. And then the third one, which is Hajj Tamattu. And Tamattu means you enjoy something extra, which is you have both the intention to do Umrah and Hajj, but you separate them. You do the Umrah, finish it, take off Ihram, you enjoy everything that's halal again, and then when the day of Tarwiyah, which is the 8th day of the Hajj comes, you put on ihram again, and you start the rituals of Hajj.
Doctor, is it fair to say that Hajj Qiran will then by far be the hardest, and Hajj Ifrad will be the easiest? And also, is Hajj Ifrad only allowed for the people of Mecca?
No, I think everybody can do Hajj Ifrad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's the only difference is in Hajj Ifrad, you just come with the intention to do Hajj, and you will put on the ihram from wherever you're coming, and you will keep it. This is the difficulty.
Oh, okay, okay.
All the time until you're done with the Hajj.
Sure, sure.
And of course, we know that as Dr. Muhammad put it easily, in Hajj we have arkan, we have wajibat, and we have sunnah. Okay.
Right. Okay. Right.
So you have to stick to arkan and understand them. It's the ihram, and then it's the tawaf, and then after that, there is wuquf Arafah, and then there are wajibat, and then there are sunnah.
Okay. Right.
I mean, we don't have time
To discuss all the details, yeah.
Basically, yeah. I just wanted to add something
Go ahead.
to what Dr. Salah mentioned earlier about Medina and Mecca, subhanAllah.
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a fabricated hadith where people make a link that, if you come to Hajj, you have to go and visit the grave of the Prophet ﷺ.
Right. Right.
Or
right.
even to go and go
Visit
to
Medina.
Al-Masjid al-Haram.
Okay.
Sorry,
Medina.
Al-Masjid al-Nabawi
Right.
in Medina. And the hadith that they quote is, من حج ولم يزرني فقد جفاني. Whoever performs Hajj and does not visit me, so he has a harsh heart towards me. He doesn't love me that
But this
much.
is a fabricated hadith. You
It's a
said.
fabricated
Ah,
hadith.
okay.
Because there is no link between ziyarah to Medina and Hajj.
At
You
all.
come
Okay.
and do Hajj without visiting Medina. But since you're here
Right.
and you can travel, and the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, there are only 3 masajid that you can travel to. And simply the reason is because of the reward that you get when you travel there. One salah in the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca is equal to 100,000 salah in any other masjid. One salah in the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ is equal to 1,000, with the exception of the Masjid al-Haram. One salah in the Masjid al-Aqsa, may Allah free it soon inshallah,
Inshallah, ameen.
is equal to 500 salah in any masjid other than the Masjid al-Haram in the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ.
That's an amazing. A quick question. I'll ask a type question, Dr. Muhammad. I do see a lot of pilgrims still wearing ihram. Why?
Basically, for a couple of reasons. Number one, misunderstanding. Number two, sticking to an order which they have been given a concession and they don't want to take it. Yani,
Yeah. Right.
the order, as we said before, is a sunnah. When somebody came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, I slaughtered before I threw the stones. He said, If'al wala haraj. Yani, do the remaining parts and there is no blame on you. The right order is, number one, throw the stones of the Eid day,
Yeah.
or Yawm al-Nahr. Number two, slaughter your head. Number three, shave your head. Number four, perform tawaf. So as long as you do them all, you put this before or that after, if you do 2 of the 4 duties, then you are in a tahallul.
Okay. The first
Okay.
tahallul we say, yeah.
And by the way, shaving or trimming is one of the duties.
Okay.
Okay, it's not only a sign of tahallul. So basically Allah is giving them an ease. But they stick to what they believe it's a must, while it is not a must.
Okay. I see.
That's why the Prophet ﷺ made it easy for his companions.
Of course.
Some others would say, I like to save up time because if I wait until I shave and I take a shower, it may take an hour or a couple of hours because of the long line before
Yeah,
the shower
sure.
room. So I would rather hit road and go to the haram and make tawaf and sa'i in their ihram.
Sure. Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
So the order, as I said,
Right.
is a sunnah.
Right.
And violating the order would not invalidate the Hajj. Rather, do what's more convenient for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. Dr. Rita, what about perhaps just some basic lessons learned? I know you're here with a group of people, of pilgrims. I'm sure you have many people, first-time pilgrims like myself. What feedback have you heard from them about lessons learned from Hajj, and what were their impressions about Hajj?
As Dr. Salah put it earlier, most of our, Hajjaj, they come from North America and basically the US, Canada, and Russia. It's amazing that some of them come with lots of expectations. They think it's like a it's a fun journey. They're coming here, they're gonna relax, they're gonna move
like a camping trip.
exactly. Move
Especially
from,
when they begin by the 5-star hotels.
exactly.
You feel like
And
it's
the
a
open buffet.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
the
of
grilled
course.
shrimp.
Yeah.
So subhanAllah, they come to Mecca or Medina, and they're staying in 5-star hotels. She's like, wow, that's beautiful Hajj.
Yeah.
And then we take them to 4-star hotels or 3-star
Yeah. Then it
hotels.
starts to sink in, right?
And it's like, man, what's going on here? And then you take them to Mina, and now they have camps, and instead of like, a key to a room, where it's like,
Tents.
and he has like, a king size, bed. Now we're sleeping, subhanAllah, on like, just like,
If he
Cushion.
finds a room, he will be lucky.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With 10 people on a
And
cushion.
everybody is snoring and
exactly. And one of the brothers, I asked them, can you please just like, on the way back from Muzdalifah, I said, can you share some reflections? One of them said, subhanAllah, I remember when you taught us and said, when you lie on your bed in Mina, imagine that this is your grave.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, it's almost the size of your laht,
no.
Right.
the length and the width, subhanAllah. So he said, when I slept, I remembered what you talked about, the biggest exam in your life. 3 questions. Munkar and Nakir will come to you. I said to myself, what if my time comes while I'm here? Because I heard you saying that the Prophet ﷺ said, you will be resurrected on the Day of Judgment the exact same way you die. He said, my dream now is to die in the state of ihram. Because I'll come on the Day of Judgment saying, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Here I am, Allah. Imagine if this is the case. So he said, I was really scared because what if I couldn't answer them? And then I remember what you said. The lesson to be learned here is to be able, to know who Allah is, to know what are the names of Allah and His attributes. So when I make dua, I say, Ya Ghani, I am poor, give me wealth. Ya Shafi, I'm sick, give me cure. Ya Qadir, I'm very weak, give me power. Another lesson, when we went in the Sa'i, and I shared with them the story of Hajar, alayhi salam. And I said, subhanAllah, a weak woman left by her husband with a baby, subhanAllah. And when she asked Ibrahim alayhi salam 3 times, how come that you're leaving us in the desert, in the middle of nowhere? There's no life. 3 times. And he had no answer. I said to the women, one of the sisters reflected on that. She said, subhanAllah, when we were standing waiting for the train, and this is why I'm still wearing this. She was waiting for the train. She said, women were complaining. We're being crushed into the train because of the crowd. And the men were making a shield around us to protect us. She said, shame on us as women. Look at Hajar. She's left in the middle of nowhere. And she said to Ibrahim at the end, Allahu amaraka bihada. Is the Allah commanded you to leave us like this? He said, yes. She said, then go. Allah will take care of us. This is another lesson. Yaqeen, that Allah, not your husband, is the provider. Another lesson is, as Dr. Salah put it beautifully, when we arrived in Muzdalifah, in Mecca and Medina, I said, welcome to the 5-star hotel. When we came to Mina, I said, welcome to the 2-star hotel. So when we arrived in Muzdalifah, I said, welcome to the all-star hotel. And one of the sisters said, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean? I said, look up. How many stars can you see? She said, 1, 2, 3. She counted 10. I said, isn't it all-star? It's even better than when we were staying in Mecca. She said, that's amazing. On the way back, to do the Jamarat, she said, Wallahi, it was a beautiful moment. When I was lying on the ground as if it is a massive grave. And we forgot about our comfortable bed back home. And we reflected on, subhanAllah, this life is worthless. What if I die now? What if I were to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? SubhanAllah, so there are so many times during Hajj to reflect. And as I mentioned earlier, even the way we are dressed as men. 2 simple pieces of clothes, as Dr. Salah said, you can never tell, wallahi, who's a doctor, who's a lawyer, who makes $500,000 per year, who almost makes nothing. Even the people who were serving us, they were dressed the same. And subhanAllah, you can only tell when somebody says, hey, Dr. So-and-so,
Yeah, right, of course.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's Hajj as an equalizer. Thank you, Dr. Rida, for those comments. Dr. Salah, is this Hajj as special as the first time you made Hajj?
No, of course not.
Why not?
The first Hajj must be special. Not because I got married in the first Hajj, as you know, but rather because the first Hajj is Hajjatul Islam. And thank you for bringing this up. First of all, I'd like to share with the viewers that this meeting is not pre-engineered. I mean, we have not really organized what we'll be talking about. But subhanAllah, all your questions are very valid,
Thank you,
mashallah. So for instance, we have people, because they're rich, they're very rich. They say, Sheikh, don't worry about it. I came to check it out this time. Next time I'll do it perfect. I say, no. Don't look at it this way. Why? Because the very first Hajj is Hajjatul Islam. What does it mean, Hajjatul Islam? It's the Fard Hajj. Then if you happen to perform 20, 30, 40 Hajj, every year you do Hajj until you die, all of that compared to the first Hajj is nothing.
Right.
Why? It's nothing. Supererogatory. While the first one is Fard, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the sacred hadith, ما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضته عليه.
Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Salah. Actually, we have a phone call before we close the episode, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead. Thank you for calling. Khan.
I just now called 10 minutes back and I'm repeating the same question actually. I was waiting for the answer.
Okay, inshallah. Brother. Okay.
Regarding the criteria for doing Hajj Badal and
the criteria for doing Hajj what?
Turning the Jamrat on 12 after Fajr if the lady accompanying is pregnant.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you for calling. This is the end of the show. Can we answer him in 10 seconds? Or
basically, Hajj al-Badal is permissible, and there are many athar and hadith in this regard.
Okay.
But simply at the time of the miqat, you should say, Labbaika on behalf of such and such, provided you should have done Hajj on behalf of yourself first. You will be rewarded, and the mere reward for Hajj will go to the person whom you perform in Hajj in their state. As far as performing Rami al-Jamarat or throwing the stones after Fajr because the lady is sick, if a person is sick, doesn't have to perform to throw the stones. Can simply appoint somebody to throw the stones on time in their state.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Muhammad Salah. It's always an honor and pleasure to be with you, especially at this beautiful time and place.
I'm pleased to have Dr. Rida with me in this program. Alhamdulillah.
And thank you, Dr. Rida, for joining us. And now that you're based back at Al-Azhar in Cairo, we expect to see you, inshallah, on more of our programs in the future.
Inshallah. I want to apologize again for my voice.
No problem. It was a pleasure having you, Allah.
It's the make dua for us. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for watching Hooded TV's extended, continued, live, and comprehensive coverage of Hajj 2012. Stay tuned for more of our coverage from our studio back in Cairo. Until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah